Now Mustafa has money for an independent expert to look and download the SD card, the dash camera, the dash camera in Mustafa's car.
That Chad Mason tampered with.
That Chad Mason admitted to cutting and muting. Wait a minute. Mustafa was scheduled for trial back in December 2024. But now you have a lawyer, you have $100,000. I thought this case was shut, open and shut, that Mustafa is guilty. They've been telling us that Mustafa is guilty.
Well, that's
but
what
since
Julie Carey wants to tell us.
Julie Carey with NBC4 like to tell us that. But since the file is leaked and the federal government is looking into the Mustafa Aljazari case, now he has a lawyer, a new lawyer. He has $100,000. They're looking into the Mustafa Aljazari case. Now, I want to thank...
Julie Carey's not updating this community.
Julie Carey is nowhere to be found. Originally, she ran with the story, with whatever the police were saying, whatever Commonwealth Amy Ashworth said, she ran with the story. But since the file leaked on the internet, Julie Carey with NBC4 is nowhere to be found. Now, I want to thank Mohammed for being here. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
What we have in the Brady motion that went forward is Judge Carol Weimer, the presiding judge, approved the Brady motion with everything that's going on in this case. Now, he has no option but to approve what is going on because the file is leaked. On body cam, in these documents, you see that the children have been weaponized, that Mustafa's statement has been falsified, that the vehicle is crushed and staged, that the prosecutor blocked the reconstruction of the vehicle, that Chad Mason cut and muted this dash camera. Now, he's not doing Mustafa a favor by approving the Brady violation. It's all there. The community is watching these body cams, is watching this file leaked all over the internet. The Judge Carol Weimer, is slowly washing his hands from this prosecutor. He's been protecting this prosecutor for the past 2.5 years. He's been protecting the police department for the past 2.5 years. Now, this is the same judge that sealed off the case. What he did during that Brady motion is that he approved the Brady motion, but blocked the communication of Prosecutor Sarah Sammy. Why is that so important? Mohammed, why is that so important? The reason it's important...
And she almost celebrated at the back of the courtroom.
I mean, with Internal Affairs.
Brandon Doodley.
They laughed it up.
She was almost celebrating. She was telling him that she's not going to release anything.
They think this community is stupid, that they're going to patch this up, do a patch-up job. I mean, it's the cat is already out the bag.
Here's the thing that I don't get. She tells the judge that no one from her office, she never made contact with the children. No one made contact with the children other than the forensic psychologist who's trained to deal with children, minors. Isn't that what she said?
She told Judge Carol Weimer that the only time the children were spoken to during a forensic interview.
That's what she tells the judge on the record. Now, is it not true that you have a document that shows Prosecutor Sammy, as well as Maloff and Officer Jason O'Sullivan, having a private meeting with a minor, one of the minors of Dorothy's children? You have that document.
I do have that document. The problem here is Judge Carol Weimer denied the release of her communication.
Because she says there's nothing there.
Because she said there's nothing there. And she said, it's dangerous, Your Honor, to release my communication. Why is it dangerous? There is evidence of missing body cams, missing files.
Is she trying to pull in a lane where she says it's dangerous? Is she being threatened by the police?
That's what the judge told her. He flat out asked her. He said, "Are you being threatened by the police?" That's what he asked her.
I mean, that's a very it's a valid question. Is she being threatened by the police? And why is she telling the main person in charge out of Internal Affairs, why is she telling him, I'm not releasing anything further?
I mean, this judge just told her.
She's confirming.
He denied the release of her communication because Brad Haywood, Mustafa's defense, made a point to the judge that he said, I have evidence that the police, there's missing body cams in this case. That's going to implicate the police in weaponizing the children, falsifying this whole entire case. She said, Your Honor, there are no missing body cams.
Well,
Mustafa's
did you
defense-
look? Did you look?
He said, did you look? She said, I'm not aware of anything that took place.
She said she hasn't looked.
She didn't look.
So how
would you know?
How would she know that there's nothing else there if she's admitting that she hasn't? I mean, look, we know this prosecutor likes to lie. I mean, she lied just the other day. You have a document that shows she had a private meeting with a minor without the forensic psychologist, by the way, who's trained to deal with kids. She had a private meeting with one of the minors who's allegedly a witness in the Mustafa Aljazari case. And she told the judge that no one spoke to the minors other than the forensic psychologist.
Mustafa's defense told
Flat out lied.
Absolutely. Mustafa's defense, Brad Haywood, told Judge Carol Weimer that I have a body cam, a forensic interview that Javen, the 14-year-old, says that the investigator told him that Mustafa ran away, left his 5-year-old baby sister to bleed to death. And that's what the child is talking about in the forensic interview. And if Mustafa hadn't run away, the police are telling this child that we could have saved your baby sister. That's what the child is talking about. That Mustafa ran out. Mustafa was in a coma. Mustafa was helicoptered to the hospital. So Brad Haywood is telling the judge, Your Honor, the children have been weaponized against Mustafa.
See,
now, where is the body cam of Investigator Romero when he talked to the children? Because evidence show, I mean, this prosecutor wants to use these children as witnesses against Mustafa. Where is the communication between Investigator Romero and the children before they were walked into a forensic interview?
Where's the body cam from Kylie when she privately met with Prosecutor Sammy?
Absolutely.
Where's Jason O'Sullivan's body cam?
Missing.
Why don't you pull that up
let me
so that
pull
I
it
think people need to see exactly what we're talking about, because it's one thing to say, oh, I didn't know other prosecutors met with one of the children, with one of the minors. It's one thing to say that, oh, I didn't know that a minor met with one of the prosecutors. There's too many prosecutors here. But the problem here is this is Sarah Sammy meeting with the minor. Okay, this is her meeting with the minor.
Because originally, Prosecutor Sarah Sammy told the judge that, Your Honor, the children were not weaponized. The only time they were spoken to is inside the forensic interview.
Only by the forensic psychologist who's trained to deal with kids. That's what she tells
and that's
the
when
judge.
And that's when Brad Haywood, Mustafa's attorney, told the judge, Your Honor, the child is talking about having conversations with the investigator. Specifically, the child is talking about that this investigator told him that Mustafa ran away, left his baby sister to bleed to death.
Let's get into this document.
And then the judge is asking Sarah Sammy, are you aware of the communication? Do you know what they told the children before they were walked into the forensic interview? She says, Your Honor, I have no idea what communication took place.
Right. She has no idea, the same way she had no idea that she was meeting with the minor.
Mohammed, why am I looking at a document?
Let's make this full screen real quick. Okay, can you zoom in a little bit? Just to match the screen? No, not like that.
I think I can, yeah. Let's see. There we go.
Okay.
That's better.
So, this was what, like 3 weeks ago? The Brady motion.
Yeah.
She stood up in court on the record and told the judge no one spoke to the minors other than the forensic psychologist. Now, on March 15th, 2024, Mallet, one of the prosecutors, Sammy, and myself. So this is a narrative by Jason A. O'Sullivan, Officer Jason O'Sullivan. Okay? So he says on March 15th, 2024, that Prosecutor Mallet, Prosecutor Sammy, and himself arranged a follow-up meeting with Kylie Clapp, a minor, at the courthouse. The purpose of the meeting was to touch base with Kylie to see how she was doing and to see if she recalled what she disclosed during the forensic interview. Kylie was able to make very similar statements as to the behavior of Mustafa Aljazari and her mother, as she had previously during the forensic interview on September 8th, 2023. Now, I'll just say this.
Wait, I'm confused. I thought the prosecutor is telling Judge Carol Weimer that the only time the children were spoken to is inside the forensic interview.
So
And she's not aware of any communication.
Well, hold on a second. First of all, why is the prosecutor meeting with a minor without a parent? Why is she meeting with this minor without a parent? We know from the body cams that investigator Rob Davis has Kylie on speed dial.
I have that body cam.
Okay, so Rob Davis is having his own private communication with Kylie.
And right after he gets off the phone call with Kylie, he's dialing in Prosecutor Sarah Sammy, updating her on what he just talked about with a minor. And he's not with the forensic unit, by the way. He's not with the children forensic unit.
He's definitely not with the forensic unit of the children. And so he's having conversation with Kylie. The prosecutor and police are having private conversations with Kylie. Okay, where's the body cam from it?
You want to tell me that you talk to children without body cams?
And I'll say this, if you're willing to lie to the judge on the record, if you're willing to lie about a meeting that took place with you and a minor, and there's no document what she said. I mean, how do we know what she said? How do we know that her statements are repetitive from the September 8th, 2023 interview? How do we know that? Mustafa's defense is entitled to it. Brady versus Maryland. Okay? By law.
Specifically,
the prosecutor has to release whatever Kylie said in that interview and prior interviews. That has to be disclosed to Mustafa's attorney.
Specifically, if there is a bias in this case against Mustafa. Now, from the forensic interview, the 14-year-old is talking about that the police lied to him before they walked him into a forensic interview. Now, that's a bias. Prosecutor Sarah Sammy, at one point in a bond motion, stood in front of the judge and told the judge, Judge Carol Weimer, Your Honor, I have two separate forensic interviews where the children are talking about Mustafa. They're talking negative about Mustafa. Wait a minute.